whichever one of these groups does it first. Shoot 'em. What's up, YouTube? My name is Ethan Hamilton. I'm 26 years old, originally from South Georgia. I live in North Florida. I've been here for right at 3 years now. I'm the founder of Standard H Waterfowl LLC. I started this company with the idea of helping private landowners increase their duck use days and bring more ducks to their land. You know, whether it be building a new duck hole or, you know, trying to revive their grandpa's honey hole, answering questions, you know, making recommendations, and basically just consulting to try and help with some wetland management practices. I'm hoping that this YouTube channel will kind of give more exposure to that company, as it is, you know, kind of a side gig right now. As you can see, I'm in my office here in Alachua, Florida. I've been doing ag sales for the last 4 years. That's my day-to-day, but it does lend me some great opportunities to be outside most of the time whenever I'm not riding around in the truck. Luckily, I don't have to spend too much time in this office, really just, you know, a couple of days a week to come catch up on computer work and make sure all my ducks are in a row. No pun intended there. A little bit about me. I grew up hunting, obviously. As early as I can remember, I was, you know, deer hunting, dove hunting, turkey hunting with my dad. We, as a family, didn't get into ducks until I was probably 11 or 12 years old. But I mean, I immediately had an affinity for it. Waterfowl as a whole, you know, ducks and geese both included. I don't know what it is. You know, being from South Georgia, I was fortunate enough to kill, you know, a few pretty big deer before I graduated high school. Still enjoy it, still love to eat deer, still love to go, but I don't think I love anything as much as I love to duck hunt. So, you know, it'd be cool to, you know, use this platform to help my business take off. You know, if it means that I get to go hunt a little more, even better. But I decided to start filming sometime last summer, maybe. Bought a couple of cameras, played around with, you know, I have a Tacticam, I have a couple of GoPros. I also have an 8-month-old field-bred English Cocker Spaniel named Mili, who is very vocal this morning. And y'all can see she is about as cute as they come, but she is also a very smart girl, and hopefully she'll be ready. She'd probably be ready today if I took her, but she'll get to do some hunting here pretty soon. You know, she may not get to do a ton of duck hunting here in Florida because we have alligators and they tend to get pretty big. But you know, whenever I get to go back home to Georgia or I travel out of state to go hunt, she'll definitely be a good one to have on the boat. She's not going to take up very much room, and she's got about as much drive as any dog I've ever had so far. So like I said, you know, this channel is going to showcase a lot of the experiences that I'm lucky enough to get to have. You know, I feel blessed every time I get to go into the woods or on the water. You know, just super thankful for everything that God's given me, and you know, especially the opportunities that I get to travel around and go hunt. You know, I typically take 2 to 3 out-of-state trips a year. Some of those are public land hunts, some of those are guided hunts. Y'all are going to see in some upcoming videos. Illinois was a big one last year. We spent a lot of time there over the last few years, you know, grinding and scouting on public land. In the last couple of years, we've been really fortunate. We've been able to get on the birds and get them to do it right for a couple of days at a time. I also went to Venice, Louisiana for the first time last year. It was a recommendation from my dad. He had been several times before me, and, you know, always raved about Venice and, you know, all the pintails and all the teal. So we took a chance. We rented a houseboat. We had a great time. Y'all are going to see that video here pretty soon. Yeah, I think the goal for this channel, like I said, is to bring exposure to my company, Standard H Waterfowl. I plan on doing, you know, obviously hunting videos. There'll definitely be some fishing videos. I've been married for almost a year now. My wife Ashley was my college sweetheart. She graduated from the University of Alabama. As y'all can see, I went to the University of Georgia, got a degree in agribusiness. But my wife Ashley is an amazing cook. And she loves whenever I bring home wild game for her to mess around with and try new recipes and some old recipes as well. She's a down home Southern girl, raised in South Georgia the same way I was. And so she's got a lot of old recipes and family, history in the kitchen from years past to bring to the table at our house here in Florida. I'll probably do some product reviews too, because I'm guilty of, seeing the newest duck tech, or some crazy looking product that just hits the market and, claims to be the biggest and the best and going to change the way everybody hunts. And I tend to be a, want to see for myself type of guy. So I'll, have a lot of things that I buy, and some of them I use, some of them I don't use, after a couple of tries, but I'll go through some of those with you guys and just tell you what I think, and obviously everybody has their own opinion, but I feel like part of the reason why I started this company is I have a unique type of skill set and experience level, as it relates to waterfowl hunting and to, wetland management, being that I've hunted ducks for almost 17 years now. I've spent a lot of time in the ag space, selling chemicals and fertilizer. So I feel like I kind of had a unique blend of both worlds to bring to the table and to offer, customers and people that would like to, bring more ducks to their private land. As y'all know, being from South Georgia, probably was the one thing we did not have a lot of. We got plenty of turkeys, lots of quail, lots of dove, lots of really big deer, but ducks was the one thing that we really did not have a ton of. So I don't know if any of that had to do with, fueling my passion for going after the ducks and going all over the country to chase them. But that's I guess part of the reason why I do it. I'm chasing the North American Grand Slam. I think I'm at 16 or 17 species now. Most of those being dabblers. I only lack 4 dabblers before I really have to start knocking out some divers. But luckily, being here in Florida, we've got plenty of opportunity to shoot diving ducks, whether it be the coast or all the lakes that we've got. I think I need a Eurasian widgeon, I need a mottled duck, I need a black duck, and I need a cinnamon teal to tap off all of the North American puddle ducks. I had a few opportunities this year to shoot a mottled duck. Y'all are gonna see some of those in some of the upcoming videos. I just could not get it done. I whiffed several times on birds that were decoying. I think my dad and I were hunting in Venice this past season, and we had a 2-pack come in. I mean, we mostly just saw teal, on our trip. So seeing a big duck, was pretty easy to spot from a mile away. And they came all the way in for us, did everything they were supposed to do. And if it weren't for the GoPro footage, I probably would have still believed that I shot the bird. But after going back and watching the footage, I'm pretty sure I didn't knock a feather off. My dad was actually the one that killed the bird. And unfortunately, it fell into the reeds, or the cane as they call it, down there in Venice. And that bird was not recoverable. So one of these days, hopefully the longer I stay here in Florida, the more opportunities I'll get at the mottled duck. But the black duck is definitely number 1 on my list. Don't think I've ever even seen one. If the day ever came, I'd probably miss just as well as I missed these mottled ducks this past season. For whatever reason, I don't want to say I don't have the clutch gene, but I get real excited. I try to keep it PG-13, family friendly. I'm a God-fearing man, been raised in church and baptized at an early age. I like to to live a life that people can look at and see that there's God in my life, and to strive to be closer to God like I do. But there's going to be videos, and there's going to be times, especially with some of my buddies, they tend to be a rougher crowd. We're going to get excited, and we're going to drop some F-bombs. So I'll try to display a little disclaimer, or maybe a little viewer discretion tag at the beginning, like, hey, things got crazy. Especially for this next video, which I'm not gonna tease too much, but it was a good one. It was probably the best hunt, start to finish, that I've ever had in my life. Me and a couple of my buddies were extremely excited the whole time. So lots of cuss words, lots of joy and jubilation. But that's why we do it. We get up every day and we think about ducks. And whenever we have days like we did on this particular day, those are the ones that we'll be talking about whenever we're 90 years old and we can't do it anymore. So anyways, I'll quit yapping. Just wanted to tell y'all a little bit about who I am. Obviously, I love to see comments. Tell me where you're from, where you're watching from. Don't be afraid to drop some criticism in the videos. I don't proclaim to be the smartest or the most experienced or even the best hunter. But I do try to do things the right way, to be an ethical hunter and be a successful hunter, and try to find the balance between the two. Sometimes you kind of have to find that balance. You have to take a shot that's a little bit farther than you wanted to, or maybe the birds aren't fully committing and you have to shoot them before they put their feet down. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We take those opportunities whenever they come. So thank y'all for sticking around. I know that most of y'all probably aren't on this channel to hear me yap ad nauseum. But if you made it this far, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching, and God bless.
Good. Stay. Mili. Good. Heel. Hey. You better be going to poop. Okay. She had to poop. You better not drop that bird. Good. Heel. Right here. Hey. Heel. Good. Sit. 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 Good. Good. Hold. Hold. Good. 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 Okay, drop. Drop. We have not force fetched yet. Drop it. Stay. Let's go again. Fetch it. We're working on centering her on fetch it and her name. Good. Heel. Right here. Heel. Good. Sit. 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 Good girl. Good girl. Hold. Hold. Good. Good. Hold. Good. 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 Stay. Drop. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, go play.